Part 1, Blood and Moonlight. Minus. The garden was silver washed under the full moon, roses casting gnarled shadows across manicured grass. Lady Astrid pressed her palms against the cold marble of the fountain's edge and tried to remember how to breathe without wanting to scream. Another ball. Another lecture from her father about propriety and disappointment. Another evening of nobles sipping wine while Veilborn servants moved like ghosts through the crowd, forbidden to meet anyone's eyes. She kicked off her heels, silk-dyed emerald to match her gown, and let them tumble into the rose bushes. Somewhere behind her, the string quartet played on, oblivious. She pulled a silver flask from the folds of her dress and took a long drink. Another reminder that I'm the family embarrassment, she muttered to no one. Gods forbid I ask why we enslave an entire class of people. The music swelled. She didn't hear the shadow move. Lady Astrid. The voice was cold. Quiet. Close. She didn't turn around. Didn't even flinch. Just took another sip and said, "If you're another one of my father's spies here to drag me back inside, you can tell him I'd rather drown in this fountain. I'm not here for your father." That made her turn. The man standing 10 feet behind her looked like he'd been carved from midnight itself. Black leather armor, hood drawn low, face half obscured by shadow. In his right hand a curved blade that seemed to drink the moonlight. On his left wrist a glowing red tattoo that pulsed like a heartbeat. Astrid's blood went cold. Then hot. Then cold again. "The Duke sent you," she said slowly, rising to her feet. He took a step closer. "You've been making noise. Asking questions. Gathering sympathizers." Another step. "People like you don't get warnings. They get silenced. People like me." Astrid's jaw tightened. She backed up toward the fountain, hand sliding to her thigh. "You mean people who think maybe enslaving an entire class of magic users is, I don't know, evil? I don't get paid to have opinions." Right. She found what she was looking for, the concealed dagger strapped beneath layers of silk. "You just get paid to murder noblewomen at garden parties. Very heroic." He closed the distance in 2 swift steps. Astrid's back hit the fountain. He raised the blade. She moved. The dagger came free of its sheath in one fluid motion, slashing upward. He blocked easily, but his eyes, dark, tired, surprised, narrowed. "You're armed," he said, almost curious. "You think I walk around in a world that wants me dead without a knife?" Astrid's heart hammered against her ribs. "Please." She swung again, wild, untrained, but committed. He deflected with minimal effort. She stumbled. Recovered. Kicked at his knee. He sidestepped like water. "You don't know what you're doing," he observed. "And yet you haven't killed me yet." She was grinning now, fierce and slightly unhinged with adrenaline. She threw the contents of her flask directly into his face. The assassin staggered, alcohol burning his eyes. Astrid didn't think, just moved, tackling him sideways into the rose bushes. They crashed in a tangle of thorns and fabric. Her massive gown was everywhere, wrapped around both of them. He tried to get leverage. She elbowed him in the ribs. "You know," she grunted, struggling against his weight. "You're a lot less." Her knee connected with his stomach. "Intimidating up close." He shoved her off with a growl of annoyance. "And you're a lot more irritating than your file suggested." They both scrambled to their feet, circling each other like wolves. She was holding her dagger wrong, he could see it, could end this in one move. But he hesitated. Why was he hesitating? "What are you waiting for?" Astrid demanded, breathing hard. "I'm deciding." "Deciding what?" "Whether to stab me or monologue first. Because I've got to tell you, the strong silent routine is getting old." He lunged. She barely dodged. His blade caught her sleeve, tearing silk and skin. She slashed wildly in response. And her dagger cut across his wrist. The assassin screamed. Not in pain. In shock. The red tattoo on his wrist, the binding mark, glitched, sparking like broken magic. For one impossible second, the chains around his soul loosened. He dropped to one knee, clutching his wrist and staring at it in disbelief. "What?" Astrid froze, staring. "What is that?" "You don't know what you just did." His voice was strained, raw. "That mark." Her eyes widened with understanding. You're bound. A blood contract." He looked up at her. For the first time, she saw his face fully in the moonlight, young, exhausted, haunted by years she couldn't count. "You don't even want to do this," she said quietly. "You don't have a choice." He laughed, bitter, broken. "No one has a choice." "I do." Astrid straightened, decision crystallizing. "And I'm choosing not to die tonight." Shouts erupted from the estate. Guards noticing something was wrong. "Lady Astrid. Lady Astrid, are you out here?" The assassin tensed, ready to vanish into shadows. Astrid made a split-second decision that would change everything. "Come with me." He stared at her. "What?" "You heard me. Come with me or stay here and explain to those guards why you have a Veilborn binding mark and a very guilty-looking blade." Torches appeared in the distance, getting closer. "You're insane," he said flatly. "I get that a lot." She grabbed his uninjured arm. Now move. She yanked him toward a hidden door in the garden wall, covered in ivy, nearly invisible unless you knew where to look. They disappeared inside just as guards flooded the garden, torches high and swords drawn. Minus. Darkness swallowed them whole. The sound of their rapid footsteps echoed off stone walls. Water dripped somewhere in the distance. Astrid's breath came in sharp gasps as she led them deeper into the catacombs beneath her family's estate, ancient tunnels lined with burial niches, cobwebs thick as curtains. She struck a match. Lit a torch. Warm light pushed back the shadows. The assassin was leaning against the wall, still clutching his wrist. The binding mark flickered between red and something darker, like a dying flame struggling to stay lit. Okay. Astrid set the torch in a wall sconce, catching her breath. Okay, we're safe. For now. Safe. He looked at her like she'd grown a second head. You just kidnapped an assassin. I saved an assassin. You're welcome, by the way. She approached him cautiously, hands raised. Let me see. Don't. Oh, stop being dramatic. She reached for his wrist. Reluctantly, he extended his arm. She examined the damage mark, still glowing but erratically, magic sparking, and misfiring like a broken enchantment. How long have you been bound? She asked softly. Silence. Then. Since I was 12. Astrid looked up at him. Something in her expression shifted from defiance to empathy, from warrior to healer. The Duke, she said. The Duke, he confirmed flatly. And if you don't complete your contract. The mark activates. Burns me from the inside out. He met her eyes. I have maybe 2 days before he realizes I failed. Silence fell between them. Astrid tore a strip from her already ruined dress and began wrapping his wrist with careful, practiced movements. Then we have 2 days, she said finally. To do what? She tied off the bandage and met his gaze dead on. To break your contract. And kill the Duke. He laughed, bitter, broken, disbelieving. You really are insane. So you said. Multiple times now. The Duke is untouchable. He has an army. Blood mages. The king's favor. And I have something he doesn't. What? Her smile was fierce, dangerous. People who want him dead. A network. Resources. And now she finished tying the bandage. I have you. Before he could respond, shadows coalesced in the corner of the catacombs. His spectral familiar materialized, a massive wolf made of smoke and darkness, eyes like burning embers in a dying fire. It growled low and threatening, stalking toward Astrid. Shade. Stand down, the assassin commanded. The wolf ignored him, closing the distance. Astrid didn't flinch. Slowly, deliberately, she extended her hand. Hey there, demon dog, she said softly. I'm not the enemy. Who'll rip your hand off? The wolf sniffed her hand. Then impossibly nuzzled it with a low, almost affectionate rumble. The assassin stared, completely frozen. That's impossible. He's never. See. Astrid scratched behind the wolf's ears like he was a common house pet. Even your familiar knows a good deal when he sees one. The wolf sat beside her. Loyal. Content. The assassin looked between them, something breaking in his carefully controlled expression. Why are you doing this? He asked quietly. Because no one else will. Because I'm tired of watching people suffer while nobles sip wine and pretend the world isn't burning. She paused. Because I know what it's like to be a prisoner in your own life. She looked at him, really looked at him, seeing past the assassin to the man trapped inside. So. Partner. She extended her hand. Are you going to help me kill a duke, or are you going to let him kill you? Long moments passed. The assassin studied her, this reckless, stubborn, impossible girl who had just derailed his entire existence with a dagger and audacity. You're going to get us both killed, he said finally. Probably. Her grin was unrepentant. But at least it'll be interesting. After a heartbeat of hesitation, he took her hand. The binding mark flared briefly, but instead of pain, something else. A connection, like a thread pulled taut between them. Their eyes widened simultaneously. Did you feel? Astrid whispered. Yes. They were still holding hands. The wolf watched with knowing eyes. Somewhere above, guards searched the grounds, calling her name. The torch flickered in the darkness. We should probably go, Astrid said quietly. We should, he agreed. Neither of them moved. Astrid. Yeah. If this gets me killed. I'm haunting you. She smirked. I'd expect nothing less. Finally, she released his hand and picked up the torch. Come on. I know a safe house. We've got a rebellion to plan. She headed deeper into the catacombs. Shade followed her immediately, as if he'd already chosen his allegiance. The assassin demon, though she didn't know his name yet, watched them go. He touched his wrist where the mark still burned, where her bandage pressed against damaged magic. For the first time in years, he felt something other than emptiness. He followed her into the dark. Minus. End Part 1.